Welcome back to The Crawling Dead. Today we're going to talk about attributes and skills. These two combinations of things make up the core of your character. This is going to be what determines how big your dice pool is whenever you go to do a skill check. So let's just get into it. During character creation, you have 4 attributes. These are strength. This will determine how tough you are, how much you can give or receive a beating, how easy it would be for you to actually pry open a door with a crowbar or something like that. You also have agility. This is your coordination, your motor skills. You'll use this for things like ranged combat or stealth. You also have wits. This represents your intellectual abilities. This would be how well you notice things, how good your survival skills are, things like that. And then you have your empathy. This is more of your interpersonal skills, how you relate to those around you, how easy you are to lead people or read people. So, while you're creating these characters, you will have a pool of 13 points that you can put into these 4 attributes. And these 4 attributes will be the core based on which we build our skills out from. So, you can distribute these 13 points across the entire range with a couple of exceptions. The minimum is 2. You have to put at least 2 points into each attribute. And your maximum is 4, with one exception. Each character will have a key attribute. This is the one thing that they excel at above the rest. This will have a maximum limit of 5. Now, each of these attributes is broken down into 3 skills. For strength, you have close combat, endure, and force. These are kind of self-explanatory, close combat being how well you are fighting hand-to-hand. Endure would be how well you are at resisting things, resisting hits. And then, of course, force would be, actually trying to push your way through doors, use your actual strength to move heavy crates, things like that. Under agility, we have mobility, ranged combat, and stealth. Stealth being how you're going to sneak past people, how well you are at that. Mobility being how quick you are to get away from something or run this place, that place, how fast you are. And of course, ranged combat is how well you are at shooting guns or other projectile weapons. Under wits, we have scouts, survival, and tech. Tech being how well you are at actually being able to put together things. Like say your group needs a radio and it's busted. How good would you be at putting that back together for them? Scout would be how well you are at just being able to notice the things around you, if you're looking or scavenging for food or things like that. Survival, also how well you are at pinching a tent, setting up camp. Do you know how to make a campfire? Things like that. And then finally, under empathy, we have leadership, manipulation, and medicine. Medicine being how good you are at maybe determining what kind of herbs would be good for curing this particular rash that you have. Manipulation, how good are you at being able to convince people to do what you want, to manipulate them in some way. And leadership, how well you can inspire people. Now, during character creation, just like attributes, you have a pool of skills that you can distribute across these. With skills in particular, you have 12 points that you can distribute across. With skills, the minimum is 0, so you don't have to put any points into a skill, unlike attributes that had to have a minimum of 2. The maximum at time of character creation is 2, so you can't put more than 2 points in any of these skills during character creation, again with one exception. Much like your key attributes, you do have a set of skills that you excel at. And in this case, during character creation, you can take that skill up to 3. Let's take the criminal archetype, for example. And we will have another video that kind of goes over archetypes and what those are. But for this particular background, the key attribute is strength. And the key skill is close combat. So what that means is that during character creation, they can put that 1 additional point into strength and 1 additional point into close combat if they choose. You don't have to. But that is the skill that is, the level cap is raised for you because of the archetype that you've picked. Now, as we discussed in the dice basics, putting these together is what determines your skill roll and your dice pool for those. So sticking with the criminal example, say they had actually taken the extra point in both strength and close combat, meaning that at the time of character creation, their maximum strength is 5 and their close combat is 3. That means that on any close combat check, they will be starting off with a dice pool of 8 because you take the total of your attribute and you add it to the total of your skill. This applies to any and all skills. So just, say they were also doing a endure check and they had put 2 points into endure. Then they would have 7. 5 because the strength is static for that pool. And then the skill below it would be 2. So you have a dice pool of 7. So that's basically it for skills and attributes. You'll be using those during all of your skill checks in the game to determine how big your starting pool is. As we learned in Dice Basics, that will be expanded based on your level of stress. So you can add more to this based on your stress level, but that also runs an inherent risk itself. Keep a lookout for more videos. We'll be talking about archetypes and other things like that very soon. See you later.